Hey everyone, so this is the Motorola Moto G Stylus 5G from this year 2023. So this is of course the newest version you can buy here, and again this is the 5G version, which means it is a bit of a better version than the non-5G, but it also means it does cost more. Here in the US this is $400, but for $400 this is a really nice phone. The display on this Moto G 5G Stylus here is a 6.6 inch full HD plus 120 Hz display, so you do get a nice refresh rate on it. It is rocking a octa-core processor, which is the Snapdragon 6 Gen 1, not to be confused with the Snapdragon 8 Gen 1 that is in more premium phones, but this is still a very nice processor, and you should be able to do pretty much anything you want to do with this for the most part. And again, as the name suggests, the 5G part here, this is rocking 5G. If you do not get the 5G version of this phone, you will be stuck with only 4G. And the version we have here has 256 gigabytes of storage, as well as 6 gigabytes of RAM. And if you use your SIM card ejector guy right here, and you pop it on in to the side here, and you open it on up, you will be met with not only a spot for the SIM card, but also a spot for a micro SD card for expanding your storage, which you do not find too often these days in phones. And on top of that, you also do get a headphone jack right here, which again, something you do not find on too many modern phones these days. You also have USB Type-C, you have your speaker, and again, like the name suggests, you do get a stylus. We'll come back to this guy in a bit. On the side here, we do have our volume rocker, as well as your power button. On the top, not too much to see except for a mic. And then on the other side here is where you'll find your SIM card and micro SD card slot expansion. Of course, you do have a punch right there for your front-facing camera. And then we have two different cameras on the back here, 50 megapixel with flash. And of course you have this nice Motorola symbol. And then this is a beautiful looking device. And here it is outside, and you can see that beautiful back with all of the sparkly blackness goodness to it. The display is even visible when you are outside. Even here with the reflections coming from the phone, you can see it is still a nice bright, very readable display, and even outside with max brightness turned up. And it does have a 50 megapixel camera on the back, and as you can see here with these few pictures of some nice beautiful flowers, it does actually look pretty dang good, at least when you have outdoor lighting. Then here is a picture of a metal flamingo at 1x zoom, as well as 8x zoom, which is the max time zoom. And you can see the zoom, when you zoom in all the way, does not look 100% the best. Then we have some inside pictures with okay lighting here at 1x zoom, at 1/2x zoom, and then with the macro shot. And each of them look pretty decent. Then here is a quick video at 1x zoom, then zooming all the way in of our beautiful Boston Terrier. Then moving on to some gaming here. The only game I have on the phone currently is Roblox, but this is Roblox Royal High, which is a pretty decently graphically intensive game, at least as far as Roblox is concerned. And as you can see, it is nice and smooth. There is no lag. There is a decent good frame rate. I would have absolutely no issue playing games, at least games in Roblox on this. Now of course, more graphically intensive games, you might not be able to do it in max graphics, but Roblox is able to do it. Looking at web browsing here, I don't think too many people are going to be disappointed, especially considering this price point at only $400 here in the US. Again, Best Buy is a little bit of a heavier website, and this actually loads it in pretty dang well. So I have my refresh rate up to auto, so it should go up to 120 Hz if it needs it, otherwise it will keep it lower to help again save on battery. but we can see this is nice and quick. There really is no issues here concerning the speed. The Snapdragon 6 Gen 1 processor does a very good job in this phone. Right, we can hit some different links here throughout this Pokemon website, and it loads in rather quick. Looking at videos and the speakers here, both I would say are excellent. You do again get a nice big screen. Of course, you can zoom to full if you want to, or otherwise there is an option where it will not come over the punch camera hole right there. This looks nice and beautiful. It does wrap around a little bit with the curves to the phone. Then again, speaker wise, you of course have the one up here, and then you also have the one down on the bottom. And if we max this out, and this does have Dolby on it as well. And with this being a Moto Stylus 5G here, you do have the stylus. One thing I do not like about the stylus compared to, say, the Samsung is it does stick out a little bit, which might be a little bit easy to accidentally knock out. Having a case on should help alleviate that issue. When you take it out of here, just like similar to the Samsungs, you do have different options. But first, let's take a quick look at the stylus itself. Kind of just a big-ish metal skinny rod here with a tip, and then that is how it goes in and out of the phone itself. Now you do have these options. Hovering above them doesn't actually tell you anything, again similar to, whereas I should say on the Samsung you would get what each of these things is. Being on something like a note-taking app, you of course can take notes with it. And it actually isn't too bad, unlike my handwriting, which is quite terrible. And I'm going to keep comparing this to the Samsung, but because there's no button on here, and this does not do anything except for take it in and out of the phone, you of course have to hit each of these options on the bottom. The Samsung has the button on the side on S Pen, which you can hit and then erase things. Hitting this again does absolutely nothing. So you will have to use each of the options on each app. And there is no option, of course, for a button since it does not have a button. And being as this is a stylus, you do have options when you are going into text boxes here. Of course, you can use the keyboard, or you can also write it out like a lot of devices with styluses are doing these days. So we can kind of write this on out here, and it does not recognize my handwriting too well. As you can see, I put in bestbuy.com. Came up with best bug on. Sort of close. And of course you can also go into keyboard if you would rather do that, and you can also disable this feature in the settings. And because it's kind of an odd tip here, it's not always, at least for me, it doesn't always seem to recognize what I'm hitting or what I'm hitting. But you do get this free with the device. You're not paying anything extra for it, and it is actually pretty decent for what it is. Again, especially considering this is a $400 phone. Most people will probably not use this. Maybe I'm wrong. Personally, I'd probably not really use this too often, since I just use my fingers, and I do not write and I do not draw. But it is something nice to have if you ever wanted to be a little bit more precise than your fingers, especially if you have chubby fingers. This might help a lot. One area where you may be a little bit disappointed in is the wireless charging, as it does not do wireless charging. So I have a Samsung fast charge wireless charger right here, and no matter how hard you try, it is not actually going to charge. See, it did turn on because I touched it, but as we can see, it is not charging. And compared to something like an iPhone SE that is about the same price at $430, pop that onto your wireless charger, You can see it is now charging. So all in all, I would say this is an excellent device, especially considering the $400 price. Of course, there are some things you will have to overlook when you're only spending $400 on a brand new phone. Again, this thing has a good processor in it. It has a good RAM, good amount of RAM in it, and this phone should last you quite some time. This is probably one of the better Android phones that are for $400. Of course, there are quite a few under or around that price. And of course, you also have the iPhone SE, but that is, of course, iOS, not an Android phone. I would say if you're looking for an Android phone and you're looking to spend somewhere around this price range, this is definitely a good option. But y'all let me know what you think. As always, I really do appreciate you. Hope you have a good one. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.